Welcome back to our drum roll, please. We have a name for this podcast: the Big Dogs of Dungeon.
That's my contribution to the intro.
With 3 equally sized big dogs.
Yeah, very equally sized. That side of the table versus this side of the table.
Damn.
I'm pretty sure that sort of.
That's probably pretty close.
Yeah.
All right, what are we talking about today?
We are talking about the Arnold ProAm. So we're going to go through all of the events, some keys we think to make yourself successful in each event, and we're also going to talk about some do's and don'ts for the ProAm if this is your first major international show. Because I'm sure you guys have seen over the years, like, pretty common, first show you go in, it's the Arnold, you're excited, you make some rookie mistakes, and then you feel bad on game day. So who would like to go first? Who wants to talk about their do's and don'ts that they stick to every single time they compete?
Every time or for Arnold specifically?
Well, we do both. Let's do both. Just because I know there's 1 or 2 things I do every time I compete, but there's also a few things that I think are Fitness Expo specific.
Mm-hmm. I would say the first thing that comes to mind for me is energy management. I think you get sucked into the hype and the energy of competition, and it's easy to like stay up here and stay like elevated the whole time because you want to watch your friends and support them and cheer for everyone. But if you're trying to perform well, managing your energy, finding that hype for your event, and then being able to quickly downregulate and conserve that energy is really valuable. And monitoring how much energy you're putting into things that aren't your own performance is the biggest thing.
So what's a big do to conserve that energy?
To conserve, everyone kind of is a little bit different. I like to find a quiet corner, so I like to get there super early, kind of stake my area that's away from the hustle and bustle of everyone else, so that I have a quiet spot that I can like reclude to, and kind of disconnect. I think that's a huge advantage to showing up early and getting a spot early that's in a spot that you want, because it can be a madhouse. There are so many athletes there. It can get chaotic, and kind of like staking your territory is really important.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I like to find my own little secret little spot, and then I hide away. It is not uncommon, especially for a big show like this. If we've got a really long stretch between events, if you go find the little corner I've hidden away in, it's not unusual to find me asleep on the floor.
Yeah. Yeah, rest up.
Yeah, you eat some snacks. And I think a big thing, too, you're talking about energy management, just to kind of tag onto that. If you're somebody that doesn't get super excited before a big lift and you have a really fierce, intense focus, you should maintain that at these big shows. Don't try to change how you approach lifts, how you approach competing. Stick to that. Stick to what you've been doing in training, because it can be really easy to get sucked into like, oh, I'm going to yell, I'm going to scream, I'm going to get really pumped up. And then you just drain yourself 2 events in. You've still got 2 or 3 more things to do and I think another day.
Yeah, that's the challenging side of it. Is you want to be supportive, but at the same time, competition, you sort of have to be a little selfish.
Yes.
In that. And
absolutely.
Depending on what you want to get out of the competition.
Right,
And there are some people that they just want the experience and to hang out with your friends, and there's nothing wrong with that either. But you have to kind of go in knowing what is your goal, what are your priorities. Is it your priority to hang out with your friends and have a good time lifting, and the performance doesn't matter as much? Or are you someone that is there to win and perform well, and that's the priority? It's not wrong either way, but you do have to identify what you're there for.
And if you're a chosen one, you're one of those people who can do it both.
Yeah.
I don't know how they do it, but
I don't either. I have to hide. I don't talk to people. I'm very selfish when I compete on the weekends.
Yeah.
I finish my events, and then, I do want to watch my teammates compete, but I'm probably going to watch them at the Airbnb on YouTube. I'm not going to watch it live. I want to be out of that expo as soon as I can be. Because
you can be supportive and also prioritize your own needs. And I think the point that you made about not doing anything different on the comp floor is really important. I think a lot of the things that we talk about today are going to kind of come back around to that, because we talk a lot about train how you compete, but I don't feel like it's talked about as much compete how you train. And people get nervous or they get antsy and they try to do things on comp day that are different than they've ever done in the gym. And that's where most of the mistakes that we talk about today come from, I would think.
It's huge.
And then going with the conserving energy, a big don't there, especially specific to the Arnold, is I always recommend go to Arnold, not just to go and watch shows, but there's so many things going on because it is like the strength capita of all the things. But don't go to all the expos.
No.
At least not before comp. If you have, sometimes the Arnold ProAm, they have that Saturday in between. So if you have some energy to go in between, but most times you can get in a little early prior to the, like during rules meeting, go in, and we've I don't know about snuck in, but we've got in before the actual expo began, where it's like not busy, not crowded. You can walk around and just see the stands.
Yeah.
But yeah, just choose one or two if there are some that you really, really want to go to, because just the amount of people and just hustling back and forth and everything's pretty far away.
It drains you.
Yeah.
And it kind of comes back to that determining what your priority is. If your priority is to go in and see what an expo is like and then soak that up, cool. But you also have to acknowledge that is going to take away from your performance. For most people, that mental and emotional and social energy is going to take away from what you have to compete with. So.
Oh yeah, you can spend a lot more time on your feet at the Arnold than you realize, and before you know it, it's noon and you've already gotten 10,000 steps, and you just made weight. And
that adds up.
That adds up. So pick the few things you want to go see, go check them out. Like for example, I always restock my headbands at the Arnold. That's my one-stop shop.
Yeah. For me, it's like I'll go and get some pre-workouts just to
stock up.
The free energy drinks.
Well, most times I don't end up, or I always forget, which is a shame that I keep forgetting, my pre-workout or something like that before competition. So I'll be like, hey, Zach, can you go and stop by and go get some pre-workout samples?
Or just have a coach that runs errands for you.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Or that. Yeah. Dude, I never buy energy drinks at fitness expos. I get free reigns like crazy. I'm just
stock up.
I am embarrassed about how much caffeine I take in at an expo.
But it's free,
crazy.
so it would be financially irresponsible not to take advantage of it.
Exactly. I'm just a fiscally responsible
You're
girl.
Your
What can I
registration
say?
money back.
Gotta
10
make up for
energy
that.
drinks later.
Any other general do's and don'ts of competition?
Ooh, don't change your food.
Yeah.
So whatever
yes.
foods you're normally eating, that's what you should be eating when you compete.
I think that's a lot easier for us Americans to say, though, because
It's very true.
I have had a lot of like international friends who come over, and they've had to come over a week prior, which is part of it. If you're international, I definitely say come as early as you can to adjust. It's such a big time change, but our food in America is different.
It is.
And they do have different digesting and their stomach have to adjust to that digestion. So if you are coming internationally, I think that's even more important. Is I know some of them, they'll freeze their own food and they'll bring it from where they're coming from, or they'll come early and sort of stick to very bland foods and allow their stomach time to adjust to our food here.
Yeah. And it's a big thing with any athlete making weight, because I know we've both been there. Like when you weigh in and you're starving, like you want to give in to the cravings, but don't. Like wait till after the show. Make smart choices, and then you can go be a fat kid when you're done.
I'm not somebody you should follow, because I make weight and I immediately eat a Snickers bar as a good job to myself.
But one Snickers bar, not like 17.
No. One full-size Snickers bar.
To be fair, peanut M&Ms are my post-weigh-in.
Yeah, it's like a reward.
But I have also in the past made the mistake of like eating pizza and burgers and like all the things that I really wanted that day, and I felt real bad.
Yeah, I do. Oh man, I have done that, eating pizza the night before. But once again, you shouldn't necessarily do what I do, because I do keep just enough greasy food mixed into my normal diet that it doesn't upset me.
That
right?
you're used to it, so it's not like a shock to your system.
You're conditioned
Yeah.
yourself.
I'm conditioned. I'm ready. So it just feels like I'm running on jet fuel the next day. I'm like, oh, dude, pepperoni pizza, I'm ready to go. I do that. And once again, maybe you shouldn't do this, but before I compete, and this is just as an old thing from when I was a weightlifter, the night before I drink one beer. Just one. Sometimes two. One beer. Because the best weightlifting performance I ever had the night before we competed, we got, I don't remember what cheap pizza we got, but we had cheap pepperoni pizza, and they had like Coors Light or something like that downstairs. And my coach was like, you can have some pizza, you can have one beer. And it was the best performance I'd ever had. I hit a lifetime PR snatch on the platform. And so now I'm like, well, I just got to keep doing it.
Yeah.
I got to stick with it.
I mean, if it's working.
It's working. Yeah. Sometimes I post it on my story too. Like it'd be like, oh, like, it's dinner time and it's spaghetti and meatballs and a Coors Light. It's like, I'm winning, so. But like I said, if you're not normally doing that, probably shouldn't start at the show. Like, that's my normal show. It takes the edge off for me, makes me feel good. And I don't drink enough to like, get drunk. It's literally just one.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, yeah.
All right. I think we're going to get into like all the events. So game plan for today is we're going to go through all the events, kind of talk about what the event is, our personal, like maybe tips and tricks, things to think about, common mistakes for each event. And at the very end, we'll kind of go through the different weight classes, all of the women's classes, and talk about kind of athletes whose names stand out to us, who we kind of expect to see good performances out of. So,
All right, let's get into it.
yeah,
So we're opening up the show with a max 13-inch deadlift on an axle bar.
rough.
Rough. And we do have prescribed jumps. So it's not like it's powerlifting style is where we have 3 attempts. Everyone's going to do their first, everyone's going to do their second. But we have a bracket that we have to pick numbers off of. And I believe the bracket takes 20 or 30 pound jumps pretty much all the way up.
They're significant jumps.
Yeah.
So you're going to see, I think, a lot of fall off and a lot of ties because of how big the jumps are.
Yes. But to be fair, the reason they have the bracket is because if they were letting people take 2.5 5-pound jumps,
We'd be there all day.
We would never get through these deadlifts ever, especially with as many people as we have. So what would you guys say your my password is? Let's not give it to YouTube.
For anyone who's going to come steal your iPad.
Yeah, if anybody wants to see an obnoxious number of dog pictures.
Gotta keep those locked up.
That's right.
What were you asking?
What would you say your keys to success for this event are?
Being smart about it. Like
Yes.
a deadlift is something that you, in general, you should know roughly what your abilities are coming into this. I think expecting to hit a 50-pound PR is unrealistic, especially as the first event of the show. You don't want to kill yourself. This is 1 out of 7 events. So going too hard on the deadlift, I think it's just a recipe to ruin the rest of your weekend. For me personally, this is not saying that everyone should do this, but how I would approach this event, I would probably only take 2 attempts because you should know roughly what your best deadlift is. You should know, especially with the jumps, realistically what you can hit. And the jumps are far enough apart that if you go with one that you're for sure going to hit, the next one is probably going to be a pretty hefty jump. I would do all my warm-ups to that in the back. That's a personal choice, but if I know roughly what I'm going to hit and I can see on the chart what my goal is, I would try to get there in 2 attempts so that I don't wreck myself with 3 super heavy deadlifts right off the start.
That's literally exactly what I'm going to do. So that is
all right.
That is my exact game plan. Cut.
Take that out.
Yeah, cut that.
I think if it allows you to do that, sometimes you do have to go, and I don't know how much time in between that you get to say your next jump is, but sometimes it is a matter of, are there going to be 5 of us that are going to be tied at this event? And if I did go for that one more attempt, would that get me out of that cluster of breaking points?
Which can be huge. I think that's a lot more realistic when they're like 5, 10-pound jumps because you're like, oh, that last one was hard, but like I need this next jump.
Yeah.
And then you can kind of grit through. But if it's a 30-pound jump and your last one was rough, as bad as you want to hit that to avoid a tie, if the previous jump was an RPE 9.8 and you got a 30-pound jump, be realistic and be smart with yourself and actually ask yourself, is this something that I can realistically hit without blowing my back out for the rest of the show?
Yeah, that's not what you want to do. And I would say these are some things that you probably already know going into the show, but it is an axle bar deadlift. It is elevated. So it's going to really, really not be fun off the floor. But if you can manage that pressure and you can manage that feeling of it not moving very quickly, once it gets to your knees, it's going to go. If you can get it to your kneecaps, you're going to pull the lift. So
patience.
Be patient. Just keep pushing really hard through the floor. Brace really hard. Use the equipment that's allowed, right? We get to use briefs. I was anti-brief for
And
so
figure
long.
eights.
And figure eights. Yeah, I was anti-brief for a long time. Turns out they work really good.
Yeah, it turns out using the equipment that's allowed in your sport to be better is smart.
Yeah. Turns out there's no reason to be proud about it. So,
Yeah, but that is the thing with Axel. It's like I feel like sometimes on Axel, I'll feel like it's going nowhere, and I'm pulling forever, and that start off the ground feels like it's taking ages. But if you're just patient with it, it'll start to move, and then the rest of the lift is
Like that
solid.
split second, right where you're going to give up.
Yeah.
Don't give up right there.
Yeah, I try to tell myself when things get hard and feels like it's not going to go. I always try to tell myself to pull for 5 seconds. Like if it feels like it's not going, I will count to 5 in my head. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to commit to this for 5 seconds. And then if it doesn't go, then it's probably smart to stop. But 5 seconds is a long time.
it's a really long time.
In the moment, because the counting to 5 in my head is probably more like 3 seconds in the moment. But like you've got to give yourself a chance. Because a lot of the times, I don't know about you guys, but I'll watch a lift that I gave up on because I'll feel like I was pulling on it forever. And then I'll watch the video and be like, why did I just give up in like half a second?
Yeah.
But it felt like a long time.
Didn't feel like it was going anywhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know for me specifically, if I miss a deadlift, it doesn't break off the floor. Like it just doesn't come off the floor at all. If I get a piece of paper underneath that plate,
It's going.
I'm going to stand up with it. Yeah.
Yeah, so patience off the floor.
So,
Yes. Fun. Any other tips, tricks, concerns, mistakes on deadlift?
Yeah.
What do you guys think is going to be the heaviest deadlift we see from the women?
From the women?
13.
13?
from 13. Ooh, I haven't thought about this in the other weight classes. I think in my weight class specifically, there
Which is
is
what class?
the 73 kilo, the 160 pound women. I think the biggest deadlift for the 160 pound women is going to be a 535 deadlift. And I think that's going to win the event.
Yeah.
I think 660.
660? 300 keys?
Who's pulling that?
Who's pulling that?
We have Trunchbull.
Yeah. We got some big deadlifters.
And
Destiny's
you got to
pretty
think
statically
about
strong too, yeah.
Destiny
She
as
is.
well, and also they're shorter.
Yeah.
So
and this
I mean,
does
it's
favor
already
a short lifter.
Yeah,
13-inch deadlifts for a lot of people is a terrible height to start with. It can be a huge advantage for certain heights and certain framed athletes.
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, this is definitely going to favor some smaller athletes, but I have seen a lot of people that I would say are really good deadlifters struggle with this in prep.
Yeah.
So,
Because it's kind of the sticking point for a lot of people. So you're starting
Yes.
at a sticking point, which is hard.
I've seen even like the smaller, the shorter woman, like they can like straight up get their knees and squat it up.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of wiggle room with
Fun to see.
with those levers.
Dude, I want to see a 660 deadlift. That'd be sick.
that would be
Yeah.
sick.
I mean, it's a pro-am now.
Yeah,
It is.
we got some big names here. All right, event 2, we've got a press ladder. So 2 dumbbells, 2 logs. It's going to be a light dumbbell, light log, heavy dumbbell, heavy log.
Yes.
And this one is for time. They're doing split times.
We're doing split. Yeah,
Oh.
we're doing split times, and we're using a different kind of dumbbell than we've used at our last few shows. So instead of a Rogue Monster Bell or a plate loadable dumbbell, they've got, what is it, Thomas Inch,
Inch.
replica dumbbells.
Yeah, I think they're Thomas Inch up to 200.
And then
And
they'll
then
switch
it's
to
a
the
Monster
Rogues.
Bell after that. So that only applies to the 2 heavier classes. But
Yeah. So the ends of it will be shaped like a sphere. It'll be much more condensed and compact. It's gonna. If I think for this one, if you're a good presser, you're a good presser, and you're going to do well in this event. But if you are already somebody that struggles with pressing, this gonna be a rough dumbbell to mess with.
it feels different.
Really, I think
It's
it
a-
makes it feel easier because it's so more.
You think
compact.
so?
Yeah, especially I think one of the bigger issues with like for a smaller woman is how big it is. They can't really find a rack position for it.
Yeah.
Where it's smaller, you have more room, more ability to find that rack position.
I do think that it's an implement that has a higher potential, like to be easier for people.
Yeah.
But it's tough if you're going into a competition where you're already nervous and things feel unfamiliar. Like
Yeah.
it sometimes isn't even a matter of the implement is harder. It's that people mentally freak out when things feel different.
I think it's going to be the novelty of it. And I also think with the end of it being spherical, it's going to be harder. You know, you'll see some people that they have problems racking that bigger one, so they'll sit it straight up or they'll sit it on the side of their head.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
Yeah,
with
there's no
that
edges.
Yeah, there's no edges. So you can't just sit it on the side of your head or sit it down on your trap. You have to actually rack it. So if you don't know how to rack a dumbbell, even if you're a smaller one and it's easier to find it, I think it's gonna be a little rough for some people.
It'd be interesting. I think this event, the dumbbell specifically, will really favor people who are like level-headed and can stay calm under pressure and can keep their wits about them when things feel different. Because I don't think it's necessarily harder.
Yeah.
I think people just will get in their head about it. So
Yes. I didn't think about that the smaller statured lifters, it would favor them having a better rack.
yeah,
To be fair, I haven't gotten to play with one yet, so
we got one.
it's like
It's only 176 pounds.
it's only 176. Oh, that's fine. That's just 130%.
It's fine. Yeah. In general, how do we feel about the weights on this event? How many people do you think are going to be finishing this ladder with these weights?
Finishing this ladder with these weights,
What percentage of the field would you say do you expect to be finishing the ladder?
in any weight class in general, between 50 and 70%. That's
Really?
a big range.
Yeah.
70% maybe.
I was thinking
Finishing?
more like
You don't think that
25.
I was
many?
thinking more like a third of the field.
Do you think a third? I'm
Yeah.
gonna say 50% then. But I know it's tough for me to say in other weight classes because I'm just not as familiar with them. And I did research. I looked up the weight classes. I'm just not as familiar. But I know in my weight class that 190 log is gonna be a punch in the mouth for all but about, I don't know, maybe 7 or 8 people. And that 110 dumbbell is gonna be rough for people too.
Wait, you're saying 50 to 70% finish or don't finish?
I would say 50% finish.
Okay.
50% finish.
Yeah, I think pressing is hard. Like, I think for every class, but it seems like more so in the women's classes, the spectrum of ability on overhead is huge. So, like, weight selection can be really hard. That's why I love that it's a ladder, because everyone should be able to hit the first implement.
yeah.
So you're not really going to see people zeroing or not being able to do it, but having the ladder it separates people out so that anyone anywhere along that spectrum of pressing ability kind of gets on the board.
And what's the time cap on that, Sarah?
I believe it's 60 seconds. I
Oh,
believe
that's quick.
I believe pretty much all of the events are 60 seconds.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it's pretty quick. I mean, you got to move the whole time. You got to move, but smoothly without making mistakes.
That's where I
Yes.
find a dumbbell to be challenging then. Because, you don't have that extra time to figure it out up there. You sort of got to get it up and go.
And hopefully they'll have some in the back room for us to warm up with, or they'll have them set out at the rules meeting so you can front rack it and play with it.
Yeah.
Because if you are trying to figure that out on the floor,
It's tough.
it's going to be rough.
And it's a hard balance to find between, like, obviously it's a speed event, you want to go fast, but taking an extra second to make sure you get the lift is way better than missing something and having to completely restart. So it's hard to find that balance of moving with urgency without being frantic.
You really think a third of the field is going to finish? Maybe I overestimate people. I always am like, everyone's so good.
It's
and
hard
I'm
because you have
bad.
to think, like, I think we see things through the spectrum of, like, the people that we've been competing with, but you have to remember this is a pro-am. Not everyone's a pro. Like,
That's true.
There are, at least half the field, if not more, are amateurs. This might be their first big show or their first international show. And so I think we sometimes see things through a skewed lens.
I know I do.
So, because if you're talking about just the pros that are there, then I would agree with you. But I think there's a lot of, people doing their first big show.
There are a lot of new faces on this roster that I'm not familiar with.
We were trying to go through and do our research on everyone, and there were a lot of new names, which is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd love to see it, but it's like, I don't know who this person is. I've never met this person before.
Cool. Any other advice? Common mistakes on a press ladder?
On a press, rushing. People rush because they think they need to hit really fast split times, and you need to make lifts.
Yeah.
Making lifts is way, way, way more important on this than the time, because it's like you said, I say 50%, she said a third. She's probably closer to right, but let's say a third of the field makes it, and we'll say 50% of the field makes the first 3. If you're in that 50%, that's really good points.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you just prioritize getting through the first 3 solid, my strategy, especially if these were weights that were nearing my max, get through 3, take a breather, and then just don't mess up on that last one.
Yeah. So my coach My coach loves to just yell at me during events, but yell at me like times and things like that, because in strongman shows, for some reason, we don't have a big clock anywhere on the field. Like there's nowhere for us to look and see, like, oh, we have 20 seconds left. We have 15 seconds left. So a lot of times my coach or one of my teammates off on the sideline somewhere will be yelling like, hey, it's time to take your next lift. 5 seconds, you're taking your next lift. So that way I can pace it out.
Yeah.
If you go back and watch my OSG press for reps, you'll see me sit it down, look off into the crowd, and it's because I'm looking at my coach. I'm looking at Alec, waiting for him to do this, to go again. Yeah.
On that, though, if you don't have someone in the crowd doing that for you, it's also okay to ask your judge what you need from them during an event. And that's a general piece of advice for everything. I think especially newer athletes or amateurs who haven't, been here as much, and they just, like, there's a lot of things to think about.
Yeah.
But I will talk to my judge before every event, and if there's something that I want or need, I'll ask them, like, hey, can you give me a time call every 20 seconds?
Yeah.
And 99 times out of 100, they're on board with helping you out. If you communicate to them what you need.
Oh, yeah. I always ask my judge to yell at me. I'm like, I'm deaf. I need you to yell at me. Okay. They love yelling at you. It's great. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you need something from your judge, it's okay to ask for it.
And going on that as well, I feel like another thing that as an athlete that you also can and should use if you can is, making sure that your weights are the way you want them when you're out there. Oh, some people they'll go out and do it themselves. But, I mean, if we have lovely volunteers, and I'll say, hey, can you move this like this way? And that goes again with just trying to conserve my energy. And it may sound like, oh, dang, why are you having to move your weights? But I'm going to have to move all of these weights and want to conserve every energy I can.
Yeah. That 1 or 2 seconds adds up, though.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's points.
So don't be afraid to ask for things. The worst they can say is no, but they probably won't. So, all right, event number 3. We got a frame carry, down and back, 40 feet by 40 feet. How are we feeling about that one?
How do I feel, or how do I think the field feels?
How do we think the field feels with these weights?
They need a good weights.
I
They're properly challenging.
I don't think they're that far off from what they did at nationals either. I don't think they're that much heavier.
Yeah.
And the nationals event was for max distance.
I think there's going to be a drag race.
Yes. I think this is going to be fast. And I am excited about that.
Yep. So I'm sure I don't know if you guys can see from there our board, but we have the frame weights are ranging 375 for the lightest of the weight classes, and then going up to 505 for the open women. So that's the kind of the range that we're working with. I think every open girly should be totally fine moving 500 pounds.
Should be.
The
only thing that's really different for this event from OSG, I mean, obviously the weights are a little bit different. I believe they're all lighter across the field.
Yeah.
The pick height is 4 inches lower, I believe. So that initial pick is a little bit, it's a little bit harder, but take that extra second, get a good pick, and then get to work.
Yeah.
Those frames feel really good in hand. Have either of you guys gotten to?
I haven't gotten to touch those ones.
No. We got to use them at Americas, and if you were at Amateur Nationals, you got to use them at Amateur Nationals, but they feel really good in hand. They don't wobble or they're not shaky. They've got good balance. Yeah.
This one, though, I think we're going to see some points getting shaken up because as someone in the small hands, shitty grip community, there are some people that are phenomenal athletes who are super strong, super athletic, who just don't have great grip. They're I think that's any sort of grip event, points get shaken up because there are always some people, I can say this because myself included, who really fall behind and really struggle. So that'll be interesting to see, I think.
And it's unlimited picks, so if you drop it, you can
just keep on keeping on.
But at what certain point do you drop it so many times? Do you say, all right, I should leave it here? Are you doing it all the way to the very last second? Because, again, energy.
Yep.
That's potentially deadlifting 400 plus pounds.
I think it kind of depends why you're failing.
Yeah.
And you have to be smart about it because as someone who struggles with grip, notoriously on any sort of heavy frame or farmers, I do tend to drop it at some point. And I think grip is hard because once your grip goes, it's hard. You can't grit through your grip failing.
Yeah.
And I think a mistake that some people know is if you know that your grip is the thing that's failing and it's not just like you tripped or misgrooved or whatever, take a second. Because I've fallen into that trap of I'll drop it and then immediately like, oh, I got to go fast. I got to pick it up again. But my like nothing's recovered. So I'll pick it up again and move it like 2 feet. And that's not helpful. I've had to really encourage myself to like, okay, on a grip event, if I drop it and I'm not like 5 feet from the line, take a second, like stand up, re-chalk, take 10 seconds, shake it out, and then actually get another good run instead of doing these like million picks where you're getting like 2-3 feet at a time. Like that's exhausting to pick it up that many times. Yeah. Like it's better to take 10 seconds and then actually be able to finish the run than it is to do a million picks with this weight.
And that's a really good point, especially considering what the next event in this show is. Because
More
if you
grip.
if you do what she's talking about and you go out and you do 6, 7, 8 picks and you're only picking it up a couple of feet and you completely smoke your grip, you completely smoke your lower back, we have arm over arm next. And if you go into that arm over arm and your arms and hands are already cooked, you're about to have a really, really sucky 60 seconds after having another really sucky 60 seconds. So you could potentially mess up somewhere where you could, folks that have grip problems, it tends to span across all grip things. If you know that's something you have a hard time with, don't smoke it and then lose points that you don't need to lose in another event.
Yeah.
Go ahead and, get what you can get and then head on to the next thing and recover and get ready to fight again. Especially because would you guys like to move on to that? There's not that much to talk about with frame.
Pick it up, move fast.
Pick it up, move fast. Yeah, that's really it.
Make sure you know what part of the frame is supposed to cross the line.
Yes. Read the rules.
That'd be a horrible way to lose some points.
But on that note, moving on, I guess next event.
Arm over arm with unknown weight on
Nobody
a rubber.
knows.
Nobody knows. We're 3 weeks out. Smashes my head on the microphone.
But okay, to be fair though, would having a weight really help that much for something like arm over arm?
I don't think so because I don't know how different the sled on different types of rubber floors are, because even out here on our floor, there's a chunk that's 10 feet long and it's the same exact type of mats and it's harder.
Yeah.
And everyone that trains it says it's harder. That little section feels different.
Yeah.
Arm over arm.
So it is going to be on rubber mats.
It's going to be on rubber mats, which is going to dramatically change. Hopefully they're testing it really well. It's going to dramatically change how much weight they can put on that sled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like the weight is almost irrelevant because it comes down to like the size of the sled and the friction and like all that stuff. Like I've done sled pulls that were 1,200 pounds, and then I've used our sleds here that are super sticky, and it's like a struggle with 400. So the weight is almost irrelevant. So we don't have weights for that yet. If we did, it wouldn't really matter that much. I'm expecting it to be heavy.
I am expecting it to, 60 seconds of work. I'm expecting a lot of people to take the vast majority of the time. I think it's a 40-foot drag. I believe it's the whole length of the floor. I'm expecting a lot of people to take the vast majority of the time that we're given, and it's going to be heavy and it's going to hurt. And I'm going to play this one a little closer to the chest and not give up my personal strategy for this
I
event.
was just going to ask you, what are some pro tips on this one?
Well, Sarah's obviously not going to share anything.
Well, yeah, I mean, mine's is just make sure, don't forget chalk. I mean, whatever.
Bring chalk out with
extra
you.
chalk.
Yes.
Having extra chalk. Like, even if you have to chalk up to your forearms, where you can just rub it. I think chalk is like...
Yeah. And the biggest thing that you can do in training, and we're getting kind of toward the end of prep, so this is probably not like super helpful because everyone's training is almost done. But especially with an event like this that you don't know how it's going to feel, training for kind of every case scenario. So doing speed runs, doing like moderate, kind of hitting every RPE, making sure, because your technique changes. Like the way that I pull a sled and my entire technique is different if it's heavy versus if it's a drag race versus if it's like fast arm turnover versus if I really need to use my legs for every rep. And so training all of those different scenarios, figuring out your technique so that first pull, you'll immediately know like, oh, this is an RPE 7. Yeah. I know exactly how I'm going to pull this for an RPE 7. Yeah. That's more of a training tip. In the moment, I think, I'm someone who uses a lot of legs in arm over arm. I think as you should. It should be more of a leg press than a hinge. In the moment, though, it can be really hard to keep your wits about you, and you just want to go fast.
Yes.
Remember your technique. You do want to go fast, but make sure you're doing it correctly. I see a lot of people just resort to that like really like low back hingey, and it's not an efficient way to do the event.
No, especially after pulling a max deadlift, your lower back is not going to be kicking as hard as it normally would be.
Yep. So when I do an arm over arm, especially if it's heavy, my first cue to myself is to get as far up on the rope as I can, and then every pull, wedge my hips in and get my chest to the ceiling so that it's a leg press and not a row.
Yeah, one of my favorite arm overs to watch is your arm over from the Arnold Amateur you did, and every time I'm like, she's just a well-oiled machine. Like it's just like
it's just smooth,
so smooth. The pattern is so consistent. Like she could have kept doing that same motion over and over again.
I do think that is going to be one of the difference makers in this event is who has a really good transition, who's very technically sound and has trained those different RPEs versus who's just throwing their hands on the rope and going. That makes a huge difference time-wise.
I think a lot of people don't think of this as an overly technical event,
but
there
it
is so much inefficiency that can happen if you don't take that seriously.
I have watched a lot of Instagram videos of people not doing very technically sound arm over arms, and they're moving it. It's moving. It's going fine, but
you waste so much out of each pull if you're not like getting the slack out every time. You're not using your legs. You're not.
Could be twice as fast.
Yeah,
twice. I mean, but you know what? It's good for me.
This is not a grip it and rip it event as much as it kind of I think seems like that.
Yeah,
it's very technical. So that being said, as someone who ate shit on her last arm over arm because of grip, I think if it's heavy enough, that's going to end up being the difference maker for a lot of people. Because it is a super technical event, but just at some point, if it's really heavy, if the rope is slick, if your grip is failing, then the rest of it doesn't really matter. So the people whose grip can recover quickly after frame, I think is going to be a huge advantage.
Do you have any tips for recovering your grip in between events?
Wrap it.
Wrap it?
Oh, never mind. I mean, recovering your grip on the arm over arm when all self need.
That is a good technique, though, the wrapping around your forearm. As far as between the events, icing my hands and forearms to bring inflammation back down is a huge one. Finding a buddy to massage your forearms.
Yeah,
make a friend.
Go see the sports med team. I did that at America's after I came off the floor. I had to go get my arms worked on because my right forearm basically locked up and I was like this coming off the floor.
Cute.
Your strong arm.
But
on that though, don't be afraid to go see them. Like they're there to help you, even if you're not like severely injured. You can still go see them to just help you feel better.
Right.
So put your hands around like an ice cold water bottle or put them in some ice. Hold an ice bag. Those what are those things that they gave them?
Nice rocks.
The icy rocks. Those things work. There's actually some really, really good sound research behind icing your hands and recovery.
Yep.
Science. Yeah.
Nerdy things.
Yeah. All right. Axles.
Oh, cool. So those are all of the day one like qualifier events. Now we're moving on to day two. So every class, 4 athletes make it to the final. Is it 4?
I think it's 6 now.
We're doing 6 now?
I think it's 6.
Cool. Do the open men still get 10?
I believe so.
The open women get 10?
I don't know.
Open women should get 10 since it's a qualifier for the Arnold Classic. But
One would think.
But either way, for the day 2, the field is whittled down to just the finalists. And we're starting with an axle clean and press for reps. Trump style, my favorite.
So basically, Trump style, if you are new to the sport of strongman, means if you do any reps at the heavier weight, it beats any amount of reps at the lower weight. So a little bit of strategy goes into this one as well. Obviously favors your better pressers, but I think that the weights that they picked for the heavier axle are heavy enough that you're not going to have to do a ton of reps to still do really well in the event if you're a decent presser.
Yep. And this is an event where there is a huge advantage to going later in the lineup because of that.
Yes. If you're pretty early, you just gotta send it. You gotta go for it. Swing for the fences. But if you're a little bit later, if you're in that last 2 or 3 heats and nobody else in my class has done more than 3 reps on that heavy one. I only need to do 4. That's 1 every 15 seconds.
Yep.
It's not
Or
bad.
alternatively, if you're going toward the end and you know that the heavy one's probably a stretch for you, but only 2 other people have gotten it anyways,
Yeah.
maybe it's not worth it to go for the heavy one.
Yeah,
Maybe it's not worth it to waste that time when you're kind of on the fence anyway. So that's going to be a huge advantage going later. Other than that, though, I mean, it favors the good pressers.
It does. It's just heavy enough that it really favors the good pressers, and it favors people that can be patient doing reps because it is a little bit heavier. So I would say my cues to success for this one would be, let's say you go out, you pick to do the heavier one. Don't rush your reps. You don't need to do one every 5 seconds to be good at this event. You're not gonna have to do that many reps. So go out, stick to whatever pace it is to hit however many reps you and your coach have already decided on, but be intentional about hitting each portion of the lift really, really cleanly. Because I think you could split jerk all these reps and still win the event. You don't have to push jerk it or split jerk it or push jerk it or push press it or like cycle it really, really super fast to still do really well.
Yeah, and I think consistent movement beats fast reps. So if you can be methodical with your reps and just methodically go from one to the next without taking breaks in between, I think that's where you're going to see people like racking up a lot of reps versus people that kind of frantically rush through them and then they're dropping it and chasing their axle. I think methodical, intentional movement.
Yes.
No wasted movement.
Yes.
And on the not rushing, don't rush your down calls.
Yes, listen to
That
your
applies
judges.
to everything.
Yes.
Do not waste reps by not listening.
Listen to your judge, and then talk. You said something about the axle running away. That's actually a really big one for this particular event because we will be lifting on the ambulance tires.
They're probably going to be bouncy.
They're very bouncy. So follow that axle all the way down. If you need to push it down with your hands to reset it, because it will bounce away from you, and it is a pretty bouncy implement. I have heard that it's fixed. I just think the collars are going to be on pretty tight. I think it's
Fixed-ish.
fixed adjacent, Yeah. So it may not spin as well as bumper plates, but if you're already relatively good at axle cleans, it's going to be fine. You don't need to overthink. Don't overthink that part, okay?
Yeah.
You could just be slow. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast.
Yep.
And any general tip for any overhead event, if you do have like an irregular lockout,
Tell your
express
judge.
that.
Tell your judge.
Very
yes.
early.
Yep. In general, do we think all of those lighter weights are those weights that everyone at that point is going to be able to hit?
If you can't, that's bad.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Especially since there was a press in the day one. So in theory, if you've made it to finals, you can't be an atrocious presser because otherwise you probably wouldn't have made it. So I see at least that the lighter weight being something that most people in the finals can rep out.
I would think so. I would hope everyone could do the heavier one, but I'm also biased.
Because you're a phenomenal presser, so you're
very
a little
biased.
skewed in how you see things.
I am very skewed. Very skewed.
All right, so that's the first day of finals, which means is that going to be on the main stage?
That's a good question. I should know that. I don't know. I don't know.
I think
I have
at
no
least the
idea.
axle is going to be on a bigger stage. So that's another thing to consider. Like nerves management. There's probably going to be a lot more people watching you at that point. So
I do know you have to move in between the stages.
they rotate through a couple different stages. But that is something I would say in training, if you get nervous about people watching you, have all of your gym buddies come watch you and yell at you. And it's super uncomfortable, but it's good practice.
Yeah.
Yes.
So moving on, event 2 of the finals is a duck walk into power stairs.
A heavy duck walk into
heavy
power
duck
stairs
walk.
too. It's a heavy duck walk.
So we got 2 implements. It's a 15-foot
15
carry.
foot. It's very similar to the Rogue Invitational event. I can't remember.
Yes.
How far did you guys carry?
We had to carry 10 feet.
10 feet? So
Yeah.
they made it a hair farther for us.
Yeah.
I-
Just kidding.
What size pens did you guys carry?
It was on 25 size plates. Mm-hmm.
But how much did the pens weigh? Like how heavy were your pens?
Oh, the top one was, I think, like 300, something like that.
Your top pen was 300?
I think it's like 280.
What?
Shouldn't you know this? You competed there.
Come on, AJ.
But our open ladies are going up to 370 for their heavy pin. That's heavy.
That's a heavy
That's actually
pen.
really, yeah, it was not 370. I do remember that.
Yeah, because I think the year that we both did the open Arnold,
Yeah.
We had power stairs, and our heavy one was 325. Does that sound right? I'm pretty sure it was 325. Granted, that was only 3 implements, but that also was without the walk. So I think these are going to be pretty significantly heavy for most people.
370 is crazy.
That's heavy.
That's a very
I mean,
heavy
granted,
pen.
it's only 2 of them, but that's also an extra 5 feet that are.
Walking.
That duck walk is horrible.
Yeah, duck walk. So if you don't know what a duck walk is, basically you have a pen that you hold with a stack of plates on it that equals whatever weight, it says up there. So 370.
Yeah.
And then your feet are on the outside of those plates and you have to pick it up and walk with it. Yeah. And it's kind of a funny event to watch because it looks so silly. It does look very silly, but it is very challenging to walk with that heavier pen because that's a pretty heavy amount of weight. That's a lot of weight to carry.
I mean, even if you look at the lightest class, our lightest ladies are 125.
Yes.
is the weight class. Their heavy pin is 260, so we're talking over double their body weight. That is a lot of weight to have to walk with and then go up a set of stairs.
Yes.
And so if you're not familiar with the power stairs part, basically they have to duck walk it, which is what she just described, and then there's a flight of giant stairs that you have to bring it up to the top.
Yes. And our stairs for this event are only 12 inches. Which I believe the year you guys did it, it was 18. Is that correct?
Yeah, so they made a different thing. I'm guessing that's probably part of why the weights are so heavy because a 12-inch load versus an 18-inch load is quite a bit easier. That's a huge difference. But they're also adding in the walk, which adds something to it and made it way heavier.
Way heavier. So what would you say your keys to success for this event would be?
I think the people that you're going to see good times are people that have been practicing their transition from the walk into the first step without having to drop the weight. I think that's going to be going to save seconds that are really, really valuable. People that have worked on transitioning back down the stairs.
Yeah,
I think
that's what I was going to.
I think people undervalue how much time can be saved by practicing how fast you come back down.
Yep.
And when I had power stairs in a show, there were days that I would just come in, I would spend 15 minutes, not even doing the event, but just practicing coming down and practicing my footwork and finding the most efficient way of getting back to the next pin. Because at the top, most of the top competitors are going to be able to move the weight pretty similarly. Events are won in the transitions.
Yes, I agree with that 100%. So today, for example, I built this crazy, not OSHA approved power stair setup.
It was sketchy.
I'm still here. It's fine. It was sketchy.
It worked.
It worked. But I built a big setup so that I could do a comp run of this. And the biggest things that I had to work on were my transitions from finishing the duck walk into the steps and then from step to step because I hadn't done a full set of power stairs in a hot minute. So I think you're going to see people that are going to do well are people that have practiced that transition from step to step, people that can come down the stairs really quick, people that have got that duck walk. I mean, that's all the pieces, but that's all the pieces. But
But all of that.
Oh, if you can do all that,
maybe do well.
But I think figuring out how to transition from step to step and not having to fight with it and fight with getting it onto that stair, that's going to be huge because that eats up so much energy. Yeah. And if you chew up a bunch of energy going from step to step, when you go to do that second duck walk, you're going to be out of gas.
Yeah.
Energy management.
Energy management. Once again, we're circling back to it. Energy management, right? Making sure your feet are in the right place to pick the pin up and get it onto the step. If you're a shorter athlete, maybe looking into some taller shoes.
Yeah. I'll say not really a tip, but this is an event that hugely favors taller people. Yep.
Yes. Yes. If you're a shorter statured athlete, this could be a really, really rough one for you, even though it is 12 inches.
Even on the duck walk, having longer legs and more clearance helps.
Yeah.
So.
Well, when in doubt, frog it out. So
frog it out. Yeah, turn your toes out when you do that duck walk.
Yeah.
It's not an athletic looking thing at all.
Yeah.
So
that, and if you have to leapfrog it,
Yeah, are you allowed to swing or does that have to be a walk?
I have not read into the rules far enough to know that because I knew I was going to be able to duck walk it.
So don't quote me on this, but I feel like I read the rules and it said that you're not allowed to do the
duck walk
swing
or the swing,
where you
don't
swing
do that. Don't do that.
I think it has to be walked. I could be wrong. I could be thinking about a different event.
Yeah.
but I think they might not be allowed to do that.
Yeah.
But double check me on that.
Yeah.
If the duck walk is really hard for you, though, focus on taking small controlled steps and not your speed, because a slower walk and then good stairs is better than having to pick it up 5 times because you're rushing
Yep.
and then blowing all your energy before you even get to the stairs.
Yeah.
So,
But I think that's going to be one that's going to punch some people in the mouth.
Yeah.
what do you think are going to be good times on that?
I'm like, what did I run today?
Whatever that was.
I would say 30 to 40 seconds. It's going to be pretty good.
Yep. With that weight, I would say for 2 implements,
That's,
I'd say
that's-
like a fast, like winning untouchable time would be 25 to 30 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah, a respectable time. Yeah, winning time, respectable time.
Yep. So,
And make sure you clear your
Ooh,
plates
yes,
on the top
yes.
stair.
Last step. It's got to be all the way on.
yep.
Yeah.
I need to put this pen down. I'm messing with it too much.
Yeah. All right. We our battery died for a quick second there, but we're back. I think we're just talking about the last step on the power
Yes.
step, making sure that it's all the way on. I've seen people struggle to shimmy that on for way too long. I personally like to, if it's not on all the way, just do one more jump up and actually like pick it up and move it forward instead of fighting with it for like 10 seconds. That's such a waste of time. Like just jump up onto the step and like you're going to do another power stair.
Yeah.
That's my biggest advice on that, because there is
I've also seen people celebrate at the top.
too early.
And
Make
It's
sure
not
it's
on there. Yeah.
That's
Big mistake.
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't do that.
Get it all the way on there. All right. And then last but not least, the odd object.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh, we just got a note from our peanut gallery. Both implements have to be on all the way. So don't go running back for each step.
What? Well, if you jump up to shimmy it, it'll get all the way on the step. Like let's say you don't get it on all the way, when you jump up, if you give it a little nudge and you split that step halfway, it'll be all the way on. You'll be okay. Your judge will let you know if it's not.
Yeah. But make sure you check the rules. I know you couldn't hear what was being said behind the scenes, but apparently the rules say that the pin has to be all the way on the step every step. Yeah. So maybe just give that a quick little read over if you haven't.
Yeah.
So, last event.
odd object load.
Odd object loading.
We have no information about the weights yet.
Smashes my head. Another.
I've seen some of the guesses though, from what we've seen people do. We've seen kegs, we've seen sandbags.
It's going to be kegs, sandbags, and a fire hydrant, right?
Yes.
For
So-
sure.
So you do
we
have
know
to-
that part.
yeah.
We just don't know the weights.
We don't know the weights. We don't know what order the implements are going to be in or how many of each implement there's going to be. We just know that those 3 things are going to make an appearance. Those 2 of those things, so the fire hydrant and the keg, when you load them onto the platform, they have to be loaded vertically. So you can load them horizontally if that's how you have to get it up there. But before you can move on to the next object, you have to stand it up upright, which is going to throw an interesting little curveball into this event, especially if you haven't been practicing that way.
Yep.
Yeah.
But we don't know weights. We don't know how many of each thing. We're just guessing on those things. So I personally have not trained on a fire hydrant at all for this. Alec has assured me that if I train on the kegs, it will be just fine and everything's going to be fine. I know a lot of you are probably equally stressed out about how much weight we're going to be using for these implements. My advice as a competitor and as a coach would be to go back and look at the loading matrices for other similarly sized shows. So loading medleys that they've done at previous Arnolds, at OSG, other shows of similar size, and they're probably going to be pretty dang close.
My guess, kind of general rule of thumb for like a loading medley based on how they typically tend to go, for a medley like this, 5 implements, I would expect the first implement to be around body weight for all of the weight classes. Does that feel reasonable, appropriate? So
Yeah.
I would expect, obviously with the open, the weight class doesn't matter as much, but for every weight class, I would anticipate the first implement being about your body weight, and the last implement being about 50 pounds more than that. I'm seeing the first two implements being about the same weight, the second two being about a 25-pound jump, and then the last one being a 50-pound jump from the first.
I'm doing the math
Fair.
in my head on what my body weight is and what I've been training and what I think the matrix is going to be. I'm like, that's pretty exactly spot on. 175. Yeah, 175 sandbag or keg. And then finishing up around 225, 250 for the 160s.
Yeah.
I would imagine if you go down a weight class, you cut all those numbers by 25 pounds. You go up a weight class, add 25,
Yeah.
and then up again 25 more.
So if you go with roughly that rule, the open class, you would end up being at around 200 to 250 for the 5 implements.
Yeah.
So
And I think I would say most of the people that I have been watching on Instagram when they're doing their loading medleys, they're in that same weight range. It looks like everyone's, even though we don't know, it seems like most everyone has kind of followed that rule. The biggest thing that I have seen people, I haven't seen too many people not hit this one, but make sure you're standing stuff up vertically. It would really suck for you to have a really great load. You go to hit the next thing and then your keg rolls over to the next side of the table or it rolls away from you and you have to go find it, stand it up. Just make sure you do that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Fast is cool, but fast is not cool if you make mistakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My biggest piece of advice on this medley would be to not fall down.
Well, what makes you say that, Sarah?
Well, I've fallen down the last 2 times I've done a loading medley.
Though to be fair, you won both of those shows. So maybe that's good advice.
It's not. It's not.
It's not.
I did win the shows. I finished mid-pack on the event. If I had loaded, well, to be fair, the first show that I fell down, I did load the last implement. I picked it up, carried it, loaded it. The second show, I did not load the implement. I believe if I had loaded the implement, I would have scored another 3 points. And 3 points is a lot in a big show.
Yep.
So it could have potentially been the difference between me winning or losing. Thankfully, it wasn't. But
It easily can be.
yeah, that's a lot.
Especially after they condense the points for finals, because after the part of the field is eliminated, the points will all be condensed. The point spreads between placings will be a lot closer. And so 3 points can be huge.
Yeah. So it could have been catastrophic. Thankfully, my first 2 implements I loaded relatively quickly. And a lot of folks seem to have issues with the third stone at OSG, the one that I fell down with. And now it's here.
And now it's here.
I look at it every day. But find your whole foot. Don't rush. This one's probably going to be on the main stage, so there'll be a lot of people watching this one.
Stay calm.
Stay calm. Take a deep breath. I would imagine if it's like other loading medleys that they've done in the past, they'll have all of the implements lined up from lightest to heaviest, going from the outside to the inside, and it'll be head to head, converging in. So just be prepared to start seeing your competitor off in your peripherals, and the crowd's going to be behind you yelling. It's going to be, I love that feeling, but I know some people get really anxious. So be prepared for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Any other tips, tricks, things to avoid on a loading medley? Another height advantage.
Height advantage. If you think you're going to need more chalk, take it out there and sit it on the blocks before you start.
Yeah. Ooh, also
Are you
a
gonna
note.
use tacky towel?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I believe
No.
it's chalk only. So,
Do
yes.
we know who's making the fire hydrants or what they're using?
I would assume this. I shouldn't assume this, but this is an implement that they have had at the firefighter show, and I believe they've used it.
We had it at the Arnold.
Yeah, I believe they've
So I'm
used
wondering if it's the same implement, which I don't know if it is the same, but if they're reusing the implements that we used at the Arnold a few years ago, it's loaded with plates on the bottom and they spin. So if you're used to like grabbing the bottom and using that to extend, you can't, because the bottom of it is stacked with plates, and if you grab it and go to extend, the plates just spin. So that's just something to be aware of, and don't freak out if it happens, and be mentally prepared to change things up if that is the case. I don't know what they're using, but I would guess they're reusing the same ones.
I think that's a piece of equipment that they keep in storage and that they continuously use. I would imagine getting plate loadable fire hydrants is probably semi-expensive. And they seem to make an appearance pretty much every year for World's Strongest Firefighter. So I think James keeps those. He's got a big storage unit full of equipment. I think that's one of the pieces that he pretty much always just keeps in there.
Yeah. So just for that, and just a general advice is be prepared for things to feel different, and be prepared to potentially have to reroute and rethink how you do something if it's not working on the field. I think that's a huge mistake, is that if something's not working and people are too set on like, this is how I do it, and it's not working, and they'll just keep fighting for something that doesn't work with the implements at a certain show, you see a lot of wasted time. And I think the best athletes and people that perform well consistently can be adaptable, and they can immediately realize that's not going to work. What can I do instead?
And I think with it being a vertical load as well, I mean, that adds another element of challenging. But hopefully they can take that into account of it's a vertical load. It should be a tad bit lighter than.
Yeah, I would not expect the fire hydrant to be the heaviest implement.
Yeah.
No, that would be a real kick in the teeth.
Yeah. I would expect the fire hydrant is probably going to be one of the lighter ones. The heaviest one I would guess is a keg.
Or a sandbag. The keg even.
There's only other two options.
I know, but like,
AJ.
I think the sandbag would be the most heaviest one. Because the keg vertically is, I mean, that just doesn't sound very sound.
No.
But we'll see.
We'll see.
So.
Yeah. All right.
Cool.
So
That's all of our events. We're gonna go briefly over some athletes. Like we were saying earlier, there are so many new names. There are a lot of people that, unfortunately, apologies in advance, we're just not familiar with. I know I think all of us tried to do some Instagram creeping on a lot of you, and a lot of you guys have private accounts or don't post your training. So there's only so much we can do with that.
once again, we want to see. Let us be creeps. Let us be creeps.
But going off of what we do know from our own experience and from the Instagram keeping that we could do, we'll go kind of briefly through each of the classes, starting with the lightest weight class, our 57-kilo women.
57-kilo women. So someone that I think is going to put on a show for this one, I'm sorry if I butcher your last name, is Gina Crevetti. She had a very dominant performance at amateur nationals. I believe she won 3 of the 5 or 6 events.
I got it right here. Yeah, 1-3, tied for first on a 4th. I mean, dominating performance. Doesn't, at least in that show, didn't seem to have any weaknesses. So
there's a lot of very similar, the pressing is very similar. I mean, I say that. There's a dumbbell, there's a frame. So some of the same equipment is getting carried over. Someone else, once again, if I butcher your name, I'm really sorry. Jenna Coughlin, she finished 2nd at amateur nationals. She seems to have a very good overhead. This is a press or an event that's going to really favor folks that have a really good press. A lot of other folks did not have Instagrams where they had been posting a lot of their content.
I would say, though, the 57 class does not have a pro card yet, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Theoretically, we should be able to look at the last few shows, which we did, and
Yes.
the athletes that have done well at the last few major shows should be a good indication of who's going to be doing good at this one, which is why we're kind of expecting those two, because of the fact that there aren't other pros that are going to be jumping in that haven't done those.
Yes.
Unlike the other classes, it gets a little bit trickier with there being more established pros that can kind of jump in and out as they want. So yeah, I would agree that those two are who I would expect to win.
Yes. And if there's somebody that we missed, somebody that you're like, no, this 57 is a killer,
Please tell us.
yeah, drop
the
it in the
comments.
comments. We want
Let's
to hear
talk about
about
it.
them. Yeah, we want to follow them.
Yeah, because admittedly, like the lighter weight classes are not one that any of us have competed in personally, so we don't have as much personal experience with these athletes. So let us know who the killers are.
You know when the last time I weighed 125 was? Like 4th grade, you know?
It's been a minute. Yeah. I was actually pretty close to that when I started lifting.
Stop.
I competed. I started powerlifting in like the 131 class,
What?
whatever it was. I
Holy
was a small
cow.
fry.
Man, I was like 155 when I started
And
weightlifting.
you're pretty tall.
Yeah,
I was
you're
scrawny.
tall. Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever. I think it's 131. I don't know. The
Something
powerlifting
like
class is
that.
130.
60 something.
Something like that. All right, moving on to the 64-kilo ladies, or lightweights. We do have an established pro class, and so we're going to be
do.
seeing some names in this class that weren't necessarily like at nationals and like things that we can look up. But who are your standouts in the 64s.
I mean, there is one 64 in particular that had an incredible 2025, and I think if she shows up to this show in shape, it's her show to take. That is Meg Davis.
Yeah, that's my pick too.
So I believe she
had
won.
a killer season.
I believe she won the Arnold last year, right?
Yeah, and
Right?
America's.
She won. Yep, she won America's. Did she win PSL?
Yes, that's the other one.
She won PSL, and then she came in
double podium at OSG. Was she one of the double podiumers?
No, that was Camilla.
Okay.
But she finished second at OSG.
I know she was on podium.
She was on the
She
podium.
had a killer year.
Yeah, so she podiumed, and she podiumed at. Did she podium at Shaw too?
She won Shaw.
She won Shaw.
I'm
okay.
fairly certain. I'm like 90% sure she won Shaw. Like she won some major shows last year.
Every single major show that there was a 64 or lightweight class for, she podiumed or won. So
Crushed.
if she shows up in shape, which her training has looked really good, I think she's going to be a problem for
hard to
everyone
beat.
else. Yeah.
Other names that stand out to me, Holly McRae. I know she's got a killer deadlift. I think she just pulled 500 as a 64, which is
Did see that.
monster.
Yeah.
She's got a monster pull. I know Carly Oliveira is another really great athlete, like a well-rounded athlete. I think those are the three, to me, the names that stand out. But admittedly, there are also a lot of names that I'm not familiar with. So that's kind of exciting.
So I believe both of those two had pretty good years last year. I think one of these, Mel Taylor, won amateur nationals. So I'd be really interested to see that big step from going from amateur nationals to now a pro-am, to see how she makes that adjustment and how she looks. Let's see.
Maybe Alex Martin.
Oh yeah, Alex Martin's got a killer press, but she did just climb a mountain, so we'll see what kind of shape she's in. She climbed like one of the biggest mountains in the world, so we'll see what kind of shape.
though.
Yeah, it was actually super cool. So we'll see what kind of shape she is in. She's not known as well for her static lifting, but she is an incredible athlete. So she moves really well, has a really good overhead press, and this is a show that favors that kind of athlete. So she is one that I would not be surprised to make the final, but I could see the heavier events being tougher on her just because she did just do all that, and I could see her top end strength maybe not being there yet, but I don't know. She's always a problem. She always shows up and puts her game face on and is ready to rock and roll. So I wouldn't count her out. I would never count her out.
All right, moving on to Sarah's class.
I'm gonna stay out of this. I'm gonna stay out of this one.
No,
I'm not gonna.
You got to give some input on people that you're excited to.
I mean,
to compete
there's definitely one
against.
name to look at. One name, Sarah Johnson. That's a big dog right there.
That's a big dog.
So no, she won't say this about herself, but I've been watching Sarah train. She's looking real good.
Yeah.
I know that I am biased, but I think Sarah is my pick to win this show, barring any catastrophes or falling over and breaking your foot again.
I hope not. Gosh.
But great show. Other names that stand out to me, I know Grace is looking strong.
Grace is in
Right
very
now.
good shape right.
Strong.
Grace is in very good shape right now. Jenny's. So the cool thing about this show for our weight class is that the entire America's Strongest podium is coming back. Someone else Nicola Ann Bennett, who podiumed at OSG, will be there. I believe aside from Hannah, I believe everyone from last year's Arnold podium will be back. So
That's some killers.
It is a very stacked class this year. I think I will do well, but it's not going to be easy.
I think
That's
it's
what
going
would
to be
say.
close, and it's going to come down to who doesn't make mistakes, who doesn't slip up anywhere. I think that we have several athletes here that are very similar in ability to do well.
Yes.
And it's going to come down to execution, which is exciting.
Yeah, I don't think this is a show that I could fall down and win. I say that jokingly, but I genuinely believe if I fall down at this show, I will lose.
Yeah, it's just going to be close. Look,
So-
we've got a lot of really great,
Really great
athletes.
What I was looking for in here was Hannah.
No, because she bumped up.
She has bumped up.
Yeah, so let's move on to our 82s. Speaking of that,
Speaking of, last year's reigning 73 kilo champion has bumped up to 180.
Yeah.
beefy.
Isn't this
She's
her third
looking
class
big.
jump as well? Didn't she
What's
start
that?
off as 64?
She did.
Yeah.
So now she's going by Big Han, and she's
looking beefy.
she's looking like a big Han.
So we've got Hannah coming up. Another one, Taylor Woods.
Summer Johnson.
Who's also coming up.
Yeah.
Taylor Woods is also coming up from the other classes. Yeah, and let's talk about other standout names. Summer Johnson is so
she should be signed up in the open. Why are you not in the open, Summer?
Summer could do well in the open.
I believe she started out I believe she signed up for open originally.
That's what I thought.
I remember looking at this roster and I could swear that she was in the open class.
I'm 90% sure she started.
I'm wondering if she looked at the roster and was like, all right, and then just bumped down.
Yeah, I'm curious.
I am very curious.
She's a killer.
If she shows up in shape, I think it's her show to win.
Yeah. I really have a hard time seeing anyone else win this show. I will say this is not shit talking or anything. I know Summer has in the past signed up for shows and then not shown up or dropped out last minute. I thought she was signed up for the Arnold last year and then she wasn't there. So I think it's her show to lose if she shows up. So that said, if she doesn't, some other really great names. Angeline Berva from France. She had a great showing at OSG. She's a super impressive athlete, very tall athlete, which I think there's a lot of events this weekend that are going to favor taller athletes. So I'm excited to see what she does. Jessica Mitchell.
Yes,
is a great athlete.
Last year's 82 kilo champion.
Yeah. So I'm interested to see because I thought she was stepping away from strongman a bit to do some like bodybuilding stuff, and then recently was like, oh, I'm going to jump in and do the Arnold again. So I'm curious to see how much, if at all, the kind of rerouted training style has affected her as a strongman athlete and how she's been able to incorporate both. But she historically is someone to watch.
Yes, she recently posted some videos of herself loading a 250 sandbag, and it was real easy.
Yeah.
She was smoking it. I want to say she posted it for reps, and it looked really good. So Jessica's in shape, and she was also America's Strongest 180 last year, I believe. I believe she won that show.
Yeah.
So
Phenomenal presser, which a show is 2 press events. Huge advantage there.
Yes. So if she's in shape, she will be a problem, especially because I don't think she's an athlete that struggles with grip. Especially
at these weights, Hannah does historically struggle a bit with the grip stuff,
Yes.
and we have 2 back-to-back grip events.
Yeah. Well, she has smaller hands, which at 64 isn't as big of a problem. When you make that jump up 2 weight classes, that can be pretty tough, and she's working very hard on that. She posts her grip training all the time, but that could potentially be somewhere that she stumbles a little bit. I'm hoping not. I'm really hoping to see Big Han in the finals. Yeah.
Another name that stands out real quick before we move on is Sue Eager.
Oh, yeah. Sue's making her
great.
comeback.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah. Sue missed I believe she missed last year's Arnold, but she was a finalist the year before that.
I think, wasn't
Or
she?
did she win? Yeah.
She's good.
Yeah.
So she's another one, and she's a powerhouse, dude. Sue's a monster.
Yeah.
I'm
how
always
did I miss
interested
Sue?
in seeing how people come back. Like,
Yeah.
when people like make comebacks, it's always kind of wild card, like what they've been doing with their time.
Yeah. I feel like Sue's one that she's going to show up and she's going to put her game face on.
Yeah.
She's a killer.
Dude, this is another hard class.
I know.
Yeah.
This
Another
is a
stat
class that everyone in that final is going to be a killer.
Yeah.
A killer.
All right. And then our last one, the Women's Open, which is particularly exciting because the winner of the Open gets to take the Arnold Classic stage with athletes like AJ here next year. So this is a huge opportunity.
And you've gone to the Classic.
I have.
Pretty cool.
I
Through
have,
this
gone,
routes.
I have gone to the Classic by winning this show. So this is really the only way to qualify, like actually qualify and earn an invitation to the main show, which makes the Open Women's class for this particularly spicy.
Yeah.
It's a lot on the line for sure.
There's a lot on the line. And I think it pulls a lot more talent, and when there's something big on the line as an incentive.
Yeah.
And one thing that I was looking at here is also looking at the weights. If the person who's winning this, I mean, these weights aren't too far off from the Arnold stage.
I was going to ask, do you think
Yeah.
that these weights and being able to crush this show is a good indication, ability-wise, for performing well at that next level?
Yeah, I think I mean, the frame isn't too far off. You know, without the incline, that log there, our trump weight, the lighter weight is 220. So I'm like looking at those and like, okay, an extra 10 pounds for some reps.
Yeah.
In terms of like not zeroing things.
Yeah. If you can get not zero any of this, I think you can
At least hang.
Yeah.
You have at least a year to not zero anything at the
last year. What was the frame at the Arnold? The weight,
like 600 pounds.
it was like 545, 575.
Did they bring it down?
No, it was 1 year was like five.
It was like 585.
585. It's like 10-pound difference. Wasn't that much?
It makes a big difference when your grip sucks.
But talking about that though, 505 to 585, as you both know, going up a ramp.
Yeah.
That is a huge difference.
Yeah.
I know that, not to change the subject, but I know that's been a critique I've heard from other folks in the past, is that the weights should be a little bit closer to the classic weights if it's going to be the qualifier, which some of these weights are really close. Some of them are over, some of them aren't. But you do have a whole year to get faster, better, stronger.
Yeah.
I do think if you're having a hard time with the 505 frame at open, that's
You probably should.
probably a red flag. But
I would
anyways,
say for anyone that's going to compete on the classic stage, all of the weights this weekend should be very manageable. There shouldn't be anything that is like grindy or out of reach.
yes.
So,
All right.
that said, getting into the athletes and people that stand out, for me, the number one person that jumps out is Jackie Rhodes. I think she's going to have a really great show.
Yeah.
So,
I think so too. She's gotten faster. I mean, she was already statically strong. You know, I see Jackie.
you can tell she's been working on like the moving and more athletic components of the sport, and I'm excited to see what she does.
Yeah.
Especially with like some grip events. Her grip is stupid strong.
Yeah.
And
quick.
Yeah.
You know,
And she moves.
that's why, I mean, I like her so much. Is she is like a little bit, she was a bigger girl. She got smaller,
Leaned out.
leaned out a bit. But even as a bigger girl, she's freaking quick. So
Yeah.
she's only getting quicker.
Yeah. Pretty excited to see how, let's see, Destiny Bass won.
Statically monster.
Statically very good. So it'll be interesting to see how she moves through the power stairs, because I believe day one will be fine. Like, the frame will be fine.
I think
Armor
between her
burn.
and Morgan Irons, they're sort of built the same. And you know, they're not the tallest women.
Yeah.
But statically, they have a really good
So
press,
strong.
really good deadlift, and I feel like those two we're going to see very close with
Let's say
next to each other.
Morgan was someone that like I still am super excited. I know she's coming off a bit of an injury. I think she had like a work accident
something with her
or
collar,
something.
yeah.
She has something going on with like her collarbone and shoulder. So that's a huge bummer, because I really hope that she's recovering from that well and is ready to like put on a show, because she is very capable of crushing this if she's healthy.
Absolutely.
Other names that stand out, I think you always have to talk about Nadia. I mean, she's been a killer in the 82s and opens repeatedly. That I think is going to come down to whether she's in shape right now and some of the moving events, if she's been working on kind of just general speed and conditioning and transitions and stuff like that.
I think Alira Joy, if I'm not mistaken, I think Alira is secured Australia's strongest woman.
Yeah, that's right.
Click on her name and see what pulls up.
She podiumed at OSG, didn't she?
Yeah, she got world's second strongest woman.
Yeah.
She is Australia's strongest woman. So
Yeah, that's no
she
joke.
had a great year last
There we
year.
go.
I admittedly don't know her as well, because I haven't had the pleasure of competing against her myself, but she did have a killer showing at OSG.
Yeah. She pulled a 595 deadlift.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So she's
From
one to
before.
watch.
How'd it look?
It's pretty good.
We're creeping right now.
Yeah, for creeping. Another
That's
name that
actually
I've
really
competed
cool.
with, Rebecca Houston. She did great at Shaw. I think with some of these events, she could do really well. Just kind of like other names that stand out as having like good performances in the past.
There's so many names that I'm seeing. Casey Croy.
I'm not super familiar personally. Actually,
Yeah, she competed at the Rainier.
She did.
she did.
Year.
Yes. Yeah.
She podiumed
yeah,
at Rainier.
I remember.
Yeah.
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 So
So
she
she's
had a really good
another-
deadlift.
very
She had the
strong.
powerlifting
I mean, speaking of
background,
that,
right?
Yeah. Taylor Doxey.
Yeah.
Such a
now
good
we're going through
mover.
this list and like people are like, oh my
This
god,
is
how
actually
we
a
forget
really
that?
stacked class.
This
Yeah.
is going to be another tall athlete.
Yes.
So huge advantage there.
Oh yeah, great mover.
Yeah.
Great mover. Great at loading stuff too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honorable mention, Claire Myler is a beast. Unfortunately, I think with a 2 press event show, she might struggle a little bit with that. I think she would also admit that pressing is not her specialty. I think she's going to pull a monster deadlift though. And she is very strong, very athletic, like double OSG winner, like 2 classes in the same weekend winner.
Crazy.
She's crazy.
That is crazy.
So we have a lot.
I just have a very biased mention because she is a dungeon athlete, Tara Simonson.
Ooh,
Dude,
yeah.
I'm so excited to see what she does. She's making a big jump.
She's making a big jump.
This is her like a pretty big. I mean, she did North Americas, but this is
and
pretty.
that was huge for her.
Yeah,
And like I love to see her like taking on these big shows and like being willing to push herself. Like I think there's too many people that shy away from things that feel out of reach, and
Not
reaching
Tara.
for things that you can't do is how you get better.
Yeah, that's not Tara. Tara takes these big challenges head on, and it's so fun to watch.
Yeah.
She's so fun to be around.
It gives you an opportunity to rise to the occasion.
Yeah, and she does.
And she's doing it.
She's
She
gotten
does.
so much stronger this last year.
Yeah.
I'm like, so excited for her.
So I've got to ask AJ, who do you think is going to be on the Arnold stage with you next year?
There's so much biasness here. Because there's 3 women out, 4 that I think that could hang.
Give us your top 3. Narrow it down. Top 3.
Top 3. I mean, Nadia Stowers. She's been on the stage already. I think that she has the capability to come back to the stage. But we are seeing some of the weight classes get leaned out on the Arnold stage, and it is becoming a true open.
Yeah.
So if I have to stick with the open women, I think Jackie Rhodes, she's been working so hard, and she's just strong.
Yeah. And she so earns that.
Yes.
She deserves that spot. Like she would do well at that show.
Yeah.
So.
And then Morgan Irons. I mean, I feel like there's a few things like maybe grip. I mean, has to be a lot of our crutches, but I'd go Jackie Rhodes, Morgan Irons. I want to say Destiny, but I just think she's so new and so green still. Like, give her another year and 100%.
We're
ready to go.
just like technique and athletic skills.
Yeah.
I'm going to butcher the name. Alea?
Alira?
Australia's
AJ?
strongest.
Yeah.
Alira
Yeah.
Joy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alea.
AJ.
AJ.
Another AJ. Especially after watching her at OSG.
Yeah.
I think you got to include her in that.
Yeah.
You
I
think
mean,
it's-
world's, I guess she'll take my 3rd spot then.
Yeah. I think those 2 are going to be our big 2 to watch,
Yeah.
Jackie and
Which would be
Australia's.
huge for Australia.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's been said now a few times. I mean, I've said it, like, Australia just has this big talent pool, and I feel like we're finally seeing it come out now with these women.
We don't pull from that talent pool at all.
Yeah.
And it's a shame.
And I think it's also just so challenging that they have to literally travel across the world to come and do these shows. And
It's
But they come over
expensive.
here and they do work though.
Yeah.
Like
They do.
They send a team and they work.
yeah.
So
They do. They always. So one of the girls that podiumed with me at OSG is from Australia, and literally the only reason she's not coming to the Arnold is because it's so expensive to fly.
Yeah.
which is such a bummer.
Yeah, because it does suck because you're not getting that opportunity to see another person that could really shine on the art, and she would crush. She's great at all these events.
Yeah.
So. But I
We
think
need a
those
really
2
big show like OSG to be at a world moving.
Yeah,
show.
I was just talking to Alec about that. It was like, we need a cool show, not in the United States. I don't want to. I want to go somewhere cool. I want to travel abroad like the boys do.
Yeah.
So
I think we're getting there.
Yeah.
It's moving the right direction.
it is. I sent him. I actually, not to completely change the topic, but I sent him the post from. Is it Strongman League? Is that right? The one that's in Europe and Africa.
Yeah.
The one that Reno does.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, their world championship is in South Africa this year, and they have an 82 kilo class. And I'm like, oh, I don't have to cut weight. Could go to Africa.
Yeah, I think
The events aren't too heavy.
When is it?
I think it's in.
You want to go together?
It just tells you the wrong date. It's in November. I
I
gotcha.
got played.
No, I think it's in late June, early July, somewhere like that. So
I would love to see you guys go up against each other, though. Like, I'm waiting for
We're
the day.
hoping.
I'm waiting for the day to see that happen.
We're hoping 2026 is the year.
Yeah.
Potentially.
You move up to 82?
Potentially. What?
You move up to 82?
You got to do
think-
one show at each weight class.
We could do one show at each weight class, but I think someone else has been cutting weight based on their macros they're posting.
I
It's
don't know
not
what you're
me, so
talking
it's not me. I'm eating 2 sandwiches tonight for dinner.
I'm on a one sandwich diet. All right. Any final thoughts on our events, our competitors? Closing thoughts?
Closing thoughts. Don't change stuff.
Yes.
And have a good time. So it's a really fun show.
Yeah. I think a lot of people make mistakes when they try to push past what they're actually capable of by stressing out over what they quote unquote need to hit. So that's always my biggest advice for any of my clients, anyone who asks for advice, is you can't will yourself into being physically capable of more than you are. So have a game plan, have like a worst case scenario and a best case scenario game plan, and just do what you know you are capable of. Like, this is the fun, easy part. Like, in training, you do things for, like, multiple rounds and multiple sets. You only got to do it once. Like, this is...
You don't have to set it up or put it back. That's the best part.
Yeah. Like, this is the worst part. This is just the fun, easy part where you get to show off what you've been training for. Like, you've done the hard work already. Now just go show off what you can do.
Go hit some PRs.
Yeah.
That's all you're doing. You're just hitting PRs with your buddies. There's snacks. You're
Yeah.
not cutting weight anymore. You can have 2 sandwiches.
Yeah. Dude, if you PR every single event, then that's a winning weekend. Even if you don't win the show, if you PR every event, then you did your job.
Couldn't have said it better. That's why she's the 4-time world champion.
All right. But if you know any of these athletes better than we do, and there's people that we missed that you think are going to be killers, let us know in the comments who you got your eye on, what events you're excited to see, any of your own tips or tricks. Let's just have a little conversation about it in the comments.
And please like and subscribe this new page.
Yes.
Because this is where we will be posting all of our podcasts.
All the podcasts are going to be on this new Instagram page. We have our own individual pages. So if you could also do us a favor and go subscribe to each of us individually, that helps us a lot with our own athletic careers and our ability to continue to put out fun content for you guys. So, all right.
All right.
Until next time. Also, let us know what sort of podcast topics you want to see from us going forward. If there's shows that you want predictions on or just general bullshitting, let us know what you're interested in hearing from us, the big dogs of Dungeon.
Yeah.